Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Familiar Intentions podcast. My name is Mel. I'm the creator of Familiar Intentions. I'm a Reiki master, a tarot reader, and I do a whole bunch of different little witchy things. Today, we're going to spread some negativity and talk about all of the red flags in the spiritual community. Well, my perceived red flags, anyway. Obviously, I'm kidding on the spreading negativity part. I'm just sharing this stuff based on my opinions and my personal experiences to maybe raise a little bit of awareness for people who are new to the spiritual community or may also see these red flags themselves and need someone to relate to. So I started delving into all my spiritual interests when I was in high school, and all my own practices and stuff I kept to myself for the most part until I think it was my early 20s. That's when I started posting more about it online or sharing things. But for all those years that I kept my spirituality kind of to myself, I felt like a bit of an outsider. Honestly, even before I started diving into all my spiritual stuff, I always felt like I didn't really fit anywhere. So when I started to kind of put myself out there and kind of meet other people who were in the spiritual community, that was exciting for me because I felt I'm going to finally find my people. I'm going to feel less lonely, less isolated. I'm just going to be around people who get me, and yeah, everything's just going to be la-di-da-di-da, happy doo-dah. So, and honestly, I'm not talking about 100% of the spiritual community here, because I have made some really lovely friends, met so many nice people through the spiritual community. So I'm not at all painting the whole thing with one brush. This is a red flag video, right? So I honestly felt when I started getting involved in more spiritual community circles, etc., I felt like I was going from one box to the other, which is so weird. It's kind of counterintuitive if you think about it, because it's spirituality is so wholesome and inclusive and, non-judgmental. But I just felt like I was too weirdo for the normies, and then I was too normie for the weirdos. I have a little bit of bogan in me. Look, I got my Scooby-Doo shirt on here. I don't look like a little whimsy boho hippie Bondi, shaman babe that the Western spiritual community likes to put on a pedestal. And by no means am I digging on aesthetics at all. I'm a creative person. I like things to look a certain way. I even like my business page having a bit of a vibe to it. I like to get creative. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm also talking about the unspoken expectation. I guess it's similar to beauty standards, right? It's people can do whatever they want with themselves and their appearances, but the issue isn't the individuals making choices, it's the subconscious pressure or the unspoken box that you have to fit in, if that makes sense. And while I do have a bit of a whimsy hippie vibe to me at times, I just kind of dress how I want, I act how I want, and I listen to the type of music that I want to listen to. It just kind of seems that in the spiritual community, it's almost there's this unspoken aesthetic that you need to adhere to. And when you enter this community, you can't listen to low vibrational music like rap and rock, and you can't be into horror movies or have a dark sense of humor or anything like that. It's you must be this perfectly curated being of light. Do you know what I mean? And it's just so fake. Unless of course you genuinely are like that. Again, I'm not digging on individual people who are genuine. If you have a genuine interest or a dislike to whatever, and you do fit into certain boxes, that's totally fine. I'm just talking about the unspoken pressure or expectation that you need to be a certain way in order to be taken seriously in the spiritual community. It's God forbid you have your own personality. Which leads me on to my next point: love and light and toxic positivity. Now, positivity is a good thing to have. It's good to be hopeful. It's good to have a bit of faith. So if you're going through something rough, it's good to be able to not dismiss your emotions, but to kind of be this is shit and acknowledge it it because shitty things happen and we have to get through it to get to the other side. And personally, I think that our unfavorable experiences give us perspective for the good things to come. Because if everything was all happy dappy doo-dah all the time, then it would be boring, to be honest, because there would be nothing to compare it to. Everything would just be. And yeah, like to me, that's like healthy positivity, being like, okay, like we can kind of see the good things in the situation. But the toxic positivity that I'm talking about here is all the like love and light bullshit. It's like you can't ever get angry, you can't ever get sad, you can't ever have something that is perceived as a so-called negative emotion, and you know, you have to spiritually bypass everything. It's like, you know, something hard will happen, and instead of sitting with the feeling, because I totally believe that you need to feel things in order to heal them. And if you just keep pushing things down, you're going to explode at some point. So it's good to acknowledge emotions, not sit in them and like wallow in them and let it completely consume you, but just, you know, let it pass and flow through as it goes. But this like love and light, toxic positivity, like, oh, like, you know, so many people have it worse. I just think in the long run, this mindset can be way more damaging than it is healing. And as someone who has had people-pleasing tendencies in the past, this was really bad for me to be around because I need more boundaries, not less. And I think that this mindset can make us internalize things a lot more, especially when you're a people pleaser. You tend to see someone stepping over a boundary or crossing a line or like pissing you off or whatever, and you'll internalize it and you're like, no, I'm overreacting, I'm the problem. And then you get around this like love and light crap, and then it's just amplified when you actually need to be able to set boundaries and be like, no, like this isn't okay, or like this isn't what I want in my life. And that's okay. It's also okay for you to have boundaries and not want certain people in your life and to have your own preferences. You're allowed to stand up for yourself, and sometimes you need to tell people to go and eat a fat one. This world is 50% amazing and 50% absolutely fucked and horrifying at all times. And that just is what it is. You only need to look at history to see that. It's in our nature. We go through cycles. There's always been torture and murder and like terrible things, but there's also been really cool, amazing things at the same time. We don't live in a perfectly enlightened, happy, heavenly universe. So we will encounter people who are amazing and just like the best people ever. And you'll also encounter people who are terrible. So you need to act accordingly. And I think that by being all love and light and everything's perfect and I'll just like send them love is damaging, and it encourages people to not protect themselves. And I do think that being able to see all sides of the story and being able to see where people are coming from is a gift, but it is going to be more of a gift to other people if you don't use that with discernment. So if you've got someone who's constantly crossing your boundaries, constantly trying to feed off of your energy in some way and not giving back, it is totally understandable that you might look at them and you might have some sort of knowledge on their trauma and their past and their upbringing or whatever, and you're like, oh, I can understand like why they're acting like this because of X, Y, and Z. And that's a good thing to be able to see that. Like, not a lot of people can see that, but it can become a bit of a curse to you if you don't know how to draw a line in the sand. Not everyone is entitled to your time and your energy. You don't have to be a lighthouse for everyone, and that doesn't make you any less of a good or a spiritual person by having boundaries and walls up around yourself to protect your peace. Otherwise, you just become this fountain for everyone to drink from, but you dry up when it comes to nourishing yourself. Sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand, whether that's saying no or pulling your energy back or just completely removing someone from your life. Yeah, it sucks to be a mirror, but it's better to be a mirror than a doormat. My next point is oneness. And this is something like how I was saying with positivity, like that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of when it becomes a bit too much. So the concept of oneness, that we're all interconnected and, you know, having like a community mindset and stuff like that, that's a really good, healthy thing. But I think at some points, of course, too much of a good thing can happen where this idea or concept of oneness can blur boundaries and kind of lead to entitlement. There's so many ways that this could manifest. So like having a what's yours is mine sort of a mindset, or people co-opting ideas instead of actually recognizing you for your uniqueness and your individuality and what you bring to the table as that different piece of the puzzle or that different spice in the curry. With this mindset, people may see your flavor in the curry and be like, I'm going to do that too. I'm also going to be that flavor in the curry, instead of seeing their own spice in the curry. I honestly don't know if I'm really making sense with this, but another way that I can explain this is all of the elements. So you've got the trees, which are all on land, and then you've got water, which is like its own environment, and then you've got fire and volcanoes and the air and all that kind of stuff, and like these are all separate elements, but together they all create the world that we live in. They create the earth. I think that there are some people in the spiritual community who will kind of see something, and instead of just appreciating it for what it is outside of them, it's like, oh, I must become that, I must be that, instead of being the element that they are and trying to understand that within themselves. I don't know if that just sounded like absolute jargon. I'm really sorry, but I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. Another thing is false prophets and people who have a messiah complex. I feel like if you come across anyone who is saying that they have all the answers to everything, or the universe, or oh my God, I did like ayahuasca this one time and now I have all the secrets and now I'm, Moses or whatever. Anyone who is conducting themselves in a way where they are not open to new information and they are just spouting as if like they just are the knower of everything, huge red flag. I think that the best teachers are the ones that are still open to learning, because life is just an ever learning journey. Like, we can't know everything. It's impossible. I think it pays to be a bit humble sometimes. And by no means am I saying like that there's anything wrong with being confident. I think it's good to be confident. It's like what I was saying with like the toxic positivity thing. It's like too much of a good thing. It's good to be like, hey, I've been studying this for XYZ amount of years, or I've been practicing whatever, and I have earned my voice in what I'm saying. That is totally fine. Like, I think it's good to be confident in what you're saying. I'm just more so talking about people who believe that they are these like exceptionally enlightened beings, and that anyone doing anything outside of their personal scope of what spirituality is, like, they're just low vibrational beings. Like, oh, look at all those low vibrational people eating their hash browns and listening to their heavy metal. Like, it's just so obnoxious. Personally, that's just my opinion, but yeah, not a vibe for me. You don't have to be a Puritan to be spiritual. Life is a spiritual experience. Whether you decide to meditate, do yoga, do whatever, you can do as many breathwork sessions as you like, but life at the end of the day is the spiritual experience. I believe that our spirits came to this earth to experience all the things. So it's good to be healthy, of course, but I think that we also came here to experience some of the naughty stuff as well. Like, girl, I need some hash browns. And for some people, their meditation is their art or the sport that they do. My next point is the absence of ego. Having an ego is actually healthy to an extent. It's just when it becomes overinflated that it's a problem. When you think that you're better than everyone, that's the issue. But having an ego means you have boundaries. It means you're confident in who you are. It means you know what you like and you dislike, and you know where to draw a line in the sand. If you don't have an ego, you're just this floating little cloud that has no boundaries, and everyone can drink from your fountain, and you're just this overgiving thing that just exists, basically. Sometimes if you've got an inflated ego, the universe will give you an experience like an ego death so you can see what needs to go, but it's not in a place where you need to be like living life as if it's a trip, if that makes sense. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this world needs more authentic, genuine people who know themselves and shine their own light. And honestly, like, that's the most magnetic version of yourself that you can be. So whether that's in the spiritual community or other communities, Just keep being you and just trust that anyone who is uncomfortable by that is going to fall away. Your spiritual practice is yours. It's your perspective, the way that you view the world. So that can't be dictated by anyone but you. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please feel free to give it a like or to rate the podcast. If you did like it, it just lets me know that it was decent and enjoyable, and it helps to get it out to other people who may be interested. If you would like to book a tarot reading or shop custom sigils or any of the other little things that I do, all the links are in the description, and I hope you have a lovely day.